Do you suffer from debilitating migraines? You know, that throbbing pain in the front or side of your head that's so severe you're unable to work or do anything other than retreat into a dark and quiet room? Have you had them for years and just haven't found a solution? Call Dr. Elizabeth Ebersol and put an end to your debilitating migraines forever. Or go to her website at www.handmadehealth.com. That's www.handmadehealth.com.
Okay, Coach, if you could introduce your two student athletes and coach.
Okay, this is Demetrius Davis. He's a junior quarterback. This is Corey Flagg. He's a senior linebacker. This is our offensive coordinator, Willie Gaston.
Open the floor for questions.
How's it feel, second state championship in a row?
I was preparing for that one outside. I thought it was coming. We really hadn't talked about going back to back or winning championships. I don't know that that's really sink in yet. You know, it's when you coach high school athletes, they change from game 1 to game 15, let alone from year 1 to year 2. So, I mean, there's so much crazy change in these kids' lives when you're talking about 365 days. Obviously it's a huge win for the program, and we're going to continue to build, but every team has its own personality, and so I think we've been focused so much on this 2019 team, trying to block out all the things that come along with winning the state championship last year, that I know personally I haven't really thought about it being back to back.
What are some of those challenges and keys to being able to block out last year and focusing on this?
I mean, for me, it's the advent of social media. Our kids don't really struggle with confidence, and so for us, it's a constant management of finding people, which is very easy to do nowadays, telling you that you're God's gift to football, when the reality is you still have a lot of work to do, both personally and athletically. And I think that's what separates our kids from a lot, is they come from a family, they come from a community that is constantly trying to improve and understanding that the adversity that's in front of them. We don't have a lot of kids born with a silver spoon in their mouth, so they're used to having to earn it day in and day out. So for us as coaches, I think it's a little bit easier for us to manage those expectations because of the way that they live their daily lives.
Coach, can you talk about your offensive game plan?
Well, the game plan was to come out and be able to establish the run game. We've been running the ball the last couple of weeks really well, so that was the game plan, to come out and make sure we get the run game going.
Coach, could you kind of explain what happened while the running back was playing today?
It's high school athletics, and Coach Gaston and I are public educators first and foremost. That's why we got into this, and so I don't think there's a person in this room that hasn't done some things that maybe they regret, but for us, that's going to come first. So it's not an indictment on anybody. It's just at the end of the day, we're going to coach the kids that are here. I thought our coaches did a phenomenal job of that. These players, they banded together, and I just think that's the testament to our depth, the way that these kids work, and that's about all I'll say on that.
John, there was a report that it was because of his cell phone and he was sent home.
That's again all I'll say about that. I'm not going to discuss a teenage kids, issues that are going on, because the reality is we deal with that every single day. And so, if I'm going to discuss every issue that we've had, we'd be here a very long time. Obviously, the stage is what it is, but, the integrity of this program comes first. I inherited it under David Amon. And so, that's our responsibility to make sure that that's protected.
Coach, the defense, like last year was the Hail Mary. This year is that 4th and 1 play seemed like that was the biggest play of the game. Just talk about what went in that, and Corey, you also talk about it as well.
Yeah, we've been talking about, we talked about it in our staff meeting about just kind of some third quarter woes that we've had here recently, and I think a lot of the fingers get pointed to the defensive side, but the reality is we've had huge special teams errors that have put us in bad positions. We've had turnovers on offense that have put us in bad positions. So it was a collective discussion about what we can be doing better coming out of the third quarter, and we met long and hard on that as a staff to try and make some adjustments, which I give credit to our coaches, the fact that here we are heading into our second state championship game, and they're still searching for ways to improve and take the next step. And again, I think that leadership spills over into our kids. And our defense has been much maligned lately. All of a sudden, people feel like North Shore forgot how to play defense because we've been playing some explosive offenses. And in situational football, sometimes you step back and allow some things to happen, knowing that what difference does it make if you win by 7 or if you win by 57 when you're talking about the postseason? That's just the nature of the beast. And to see those kids come out in the second half and shut out a offense like Duncanville, and I don't, you know, again, Quentin Jackson is a generational talent. There's no question about it. The kid's phenomenal, but they're dripping with talent, and they're extremely well coached. And for these kids to come together and make those adjustments and execute on the largest stage, I think all the credit goes to them and the coaches.
Demetrius, when you got the news that you guys were going to be short the player, did you kind of feel any pressure that you had to step up a little bit more?
No, I just relied on my running back, Roger Hagan. I just relied on the next man up, you know, Roger Hagan. I knew he started last week, so I had complete confidence in him. So, yeah.
For both coaches, sorry, for both players, having played on this stage before, how much did that help you coming in here today, sort of knowing a little bit more like what to expect with the crowd and the team you were facing? Did any of that help?
I just played my game, you know, relied on my teammates and my coaches, and we came out to win.
Same thing Demetrius said, we just played our game, we relaxed, focused on the ball, we played no show football, we came out on top.
Coach K, and then Coach Gatz, when you have a quarterback like Demetrius who has sort of been here before, I mean, how much do you think that helps prepare him? And when you are going to be without some of your top talents, how much does it help to have a quarterback like that that you can rely on?
Well, having a kid like Demetrius taking the snaps is, you know, you got to feel comfortable as a coach, knowing how much of an explosive player he is, throwing the ball and running the ball. So, you know, when you got a player like that, and a quarterback that can go out there and understand the offense and execute the offense as well as he does, you feel pretty good about it.
Well, coaches, if you could just talk about Roger Hagan's journey, I guess at this point, last 2 weeks have been pretty big.
You know, Roger Hagan is you know, he and his family, I think, are just stalwarts in our community. And here's a kid that was a 7th grade B team quarterback, you know, at our middle school. I featured an 8th grade B team quarterback, and you know, worked his tail off at quarterback, and you know, competed with Demetrius for quarterback reps. And you look at him in the weight room, I think that just kind of hit it one day. You just all of a sudden you look at a kid that looks like a grown man because of what he's been taught, just nothing but work, and he has poured his soul into this program. And you know, for us, we trust him like we would trust any player out there, and he's earned it. And I think when you've earned it like he's earned it, you appreciate it a little bit more. And again, I think all of us up here, to varying degrees, are in that underdog role. You know, I mean, you talk about Willie, who played at North Shore and, you know, was a free agent signing in the NFL and had to earn everything that he did. And I think he appreciated that journey more because it wasn't something that he was just naturally, I mean, obviously you got to be playing the league, you're naturally gifted, but that journey to have to earn those right, that's Roger Hagan. And that's so many of our kids in our community, like Willie, like Corey, like Demetrius, that, you know, I just think it's a great storybook that encapsulates all of us, not just Roger.
Coach K,
You had a big compliment from Coach Samples that was saying it doesn't matter who you have out there. He basically said, we have seen you score 50, 60 points with a full roster and without a full roster. Can you just talk to us about the stability of this program and what makes this squad special to be able to overcome adversity?
I just think it's the overall depth, like Coach said earlier, it's having guys being willing to step up and accept roles and understand when they got their numbers called, they go out there and perform. And like, you know, going back to Roger Hagan, being a backup quarterback who still is listed as a backup quarterback, and also a guy who can put out that running back. You've got 2 guys like that with him and Demetrius on the field. You got 2 smart kids on the field that understand the offense and understand where holes should be hit when it's time to run the ball. And he just did a good job. And I think our overall depth and the way we practice to get guys ready for moments like this, you know, we can't say enough for not just me, but you know, our offensive coaching staff, the defense coaching staff. Our job is to get kids developed to play.
Willie, I'll talk about like the running backs and quarterbacks. Nobody talks about the size and just the athleticism of your offensive line. They just seem like they get kind of forgotten, but these are some big time old linemen. Talk about what role they played over the past 2 years to get y'all to state championships.
I'd say Coach Latz, our O-line coach, and Coach Lamar, assistant O-line coach, they do a great job with those guys every day in practice. They're hard on them, they're demanding, and those guys are as coached up as, you know, anybody on the field. And you know, credit to Coach Latz for getting those guys ready. And you know, we had, you know, trouble at the beginning of the year where we moving people around. We lost Xavier DeBlanc early in the year, so we had to piece some guys together, and we had guys step up on that O-line and like you said, the next man up with the depth. And I think those guys do a great job getting those guys ready to play.
Coach K. Coach, why are you guys so prepared? I mean, this has been an explosive offensive time. Why are you guys so prepared to play different styles of football, that you can win ugly and you can win explosive?
I don't know that I've ever won ugly, to be honest with you. You know, as we sit up here, to me, you know, it's. I think the creativity of our offensive staff and Coach Gaston specifically, I think, is one of those things that it comes from. I think, you know, he's got a defensive background, he's got an offensive background, so he understands how to layer play calling, he understands situational football, he understands how the defense is playing, and you know, the reality is if we ever had an ugly win, it might have been in 2015 when we were, you know, way less talented on offense, and Coach Gaston at the time was our defensive backs coach, and I remember talking to him afterwards, and he said, man, I thought we called a great game. And so many people were talking about the ugliness of that win, and his was kept the clock moving, kept the defense off the field, stayed in great situations, not afraid to punt the ball. That's football, you know, and so I think oftentimes it gets lost in Hail Marys and 58 points, but this is a field position game. This is, you know, historically a war game, you know, for lack of a better word, and I think his understanding of when it's time to open it up and when it's time to put the foot on the, you know, the brakes, not for the betterment of the offense, but for the win, I think is pretty much the difference.
Was that exemplified by that 3rd and 11? Then, you know, after they call a timeout, what you just mentioned?
There's no question, you know, I mean, Willie's talking to me on the headsets, and his first thing is, Coach, I want to take a shot here. I think we got it. I know you want to run the ball to make him burn another timeout, but I think we got it. And you know, again, it's one of those, when he says he's got it, then I step back. I mean, that's, you know, if I've learned anything, it's how to step out of the way and let guys do their job. And so same way it was last year, it was that situation, and it was there, and that was a backbreaker.
Corey, could you take me through that 4th and 1, what you saw?
Right, it was the same thing we do in practice. When we go through situations like that on a daily, throughout the week, so it's nothing to us, you know, we just lined up, you know, we had our backs against the wall, we just made a stop.
Corey, for this defense, I know Coach K mentioned over the last few weeks, man, there's been some talk about the defensive unit, but for y'all to shut out Darnville in the second half, what does that mean for you to end your high school career with that? You know?
Man, it's a huge blessing, man. I gotta tip my hat out to Coach Cross, Coach Lynn, you know, the whole defense coach staff for just getting me right and just keeping me upbeat and keeping the players upbeat and just make sure we know our keys and read our keys to play the ball.
Question from the back.
Yeah, Coach K, it's tough to repeat. When you put a bow on this season, talk about not just today, but the journey all throughout the season. What are you going to remember most about this team this year?
I think it was our kids' buy-in of what we've been doing as a staff for, you know, the last 5-6 years or whatever it's been, of just trying to constantly improve and making that the focus. And you know, we come into a game against Katie on ESPN as champs and national and blah 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 blah. And you know, I think our kids found out, as you will when you play programs like that, that maybe there are some rooms for improvement. And in this day and age, and probably in all of our day and age, it's hard for adolescent kids to take a hard look in the mirror and realize that they have work to do. You know, it's hard for me as a grown man, despite the fact that I do it daily. And so, you know, I thought it was just the maturity of our kids to understand, you know, it's time to go work. And you know, it's sometimes easier to say when it's after a loss like that, but I think the fact that they did it equally after wins is what separated them and why they were able to overcome the adversity we felt today.
We have 2 questions left.
Demetrius, I mean, a lot of quarterbacks want to keep chucking the ball down the field. They want to move fast. They want to put up a lot of stats and stuff like that. I mean, in those moments where you guys are bleeding out the clock, I mean, how comfortable are you in those situations, just kind of taking it one play at a time, letting it go down?
I was very comfortable. You know, I believe in my teammates, the defense. They were playing really good, so you know, I just believed in them. You know, I had to run the clock out. You know, the O-line was blocking great. We was getting 4+ yards every play, so as long as I believed in them, we just got our job done.
And Demetrius and Corey, what was y'all's message to y'all's teammates going into the second half, and then to Demetrius? Talk to us about what it's going to take to get the 3 people.
Just 24 more minutes, you know, just had the ball off for 24 more minutes, and we did that. And what it's going to take to repeat, you know, just start in January, you know, get better with the underclassmen, people in my grade, you know, as long as we just get prepared, we'll be good for next year.
I think a huge thing was we got out early. Out of halftime, we came out early. We stretched. We stretched real good. We came out, we fired off the ball, and we got a couple of huge stops. And Demetri did his thing. He was composed and he stepped up.
So both the players just talked about bringing this title back to the school, to the community. I know you guys play with the community on your shoulder.
Yeah, they every game, no matter how far it is, them guys love us. As long as we just keep putting on for them, we're gonna keep making them happy.
Yeah, man, we got to tip our hat off to our community, man. They gave us a whole set on thing, man. We just really appreciate them, from the administrators to the community itself, Dr. Williams, everyone. They love us, they take care of us. It could be anywhere they come to our game.
Thank you, guys.